Boston.
Maybe trying to spot it like that.
How did you guys meet?
Core 101.
I guess that's it, isn't it?
That's it.
Explain.
Core 101 is the first class that you take, right?
Yeah.
When you first get to Greenville.
It's like I don't know what it is, like an initiation kind of class.
Yeah. Just kind of teaches you what college life is about to be about,
Yeah.
I guess. Any explanation?
I mean, it's just like how to be a college student 101 is the best way to describe Core 101.
Yeah.
And they split it up by majors, so we were all music majors,
Mm.
and so we all ended up in the same class by like default, and so that's kind of how we met each other.
Mm-hmm.
How did the band come together?
That's a good question, too.
A very different way than you'd expect.
Yeah. We were at a metal concert, right?
It was.
Which concert was it that we were at?
It wasn't a metal concert. They did a metal cover at
Yes.
the end of it, and then there was like kind of the post-hardcore thing. What was the name of his? Not Nate's, but what was the name?
Wayfarer?
Of it? Wayfarer.
Wayfair.
Yeah, Wayfarer. They're kind of like a post-hardcore thing.
Yeah.
Like clean vocal, super ambient guitars. But like there's at the end of the first set, there was the what cover was it?
They did a what's the name of that band now? They're a big band.
I can't think of it.
Was that Under Oath?
Under Oath, yeah.
Yeah,
they did.
yeah.
There was an Under Oath.
Why was I the one who knew that?
And it was that's the question. Well, there was an Under Oath cover at the end of the first set, and it was Shook, and we all got into it, and I knew that Kirsch liked metal, and I enjoyed singing metal at the time, and I wanted to start a metal band that I could sing in, and just yell random things, and we knew Jaron was good at guitar and stuff. And he had good tone because he had a reverb pedal. You didn't even have the delay pedal at that time.
I just had an overdrive and a delay, and a reverb.
The RV5.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted to make music, and I think we picked up Joel later that day or something like that.
Yeah, he was just hanging out, I think.
And we went down, and after that, in the second rehearsal, we figured out the cover.
Yeah,
The rolling in the deep.
We played "Rolling in the" a metalcore cover of "Rolling in the Deep." That was the first song SideQuest ever played.
It was tasteful.
It was super tasty. I had my semi-hollow electric guitar tuned down to like I think it was just drop D or something.
Yeah.
Drop D, and then was playing ambient stuff. Somebody else was there, I think.
Yeah.
Playing.
We had what's his name? Joel was there playing drums, but we also had who's the guy? Dan Chiaffola was playing bass.
Yeah.
And I was actually playing guitar.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
You had the actual metal
I remember
playing, and I
now.
had ambient stuff going on, and then Dan was playing bass, yeah. And we were playing Rolling in the Deep, so I was like singing the verses.
Sing the verses and then...
And he came with the chorus with some yells.
Because we didn't understand song structure, so we were just like, both of these parts go hard on their own, so we're just going to slap it together and it's going to sound cool.
And it kind of did.
I mean, I like it.
We got to bring it back someday.
True.
Somehow.
Worth it.
It'll happen.
Where did your band name come from?
I'll look it up.
I was gonna say a meme. A meme. I think I was scrolling through iFunny. I think for some reason I had thought about the word quest before I saw this meme, and we were trying to work around like what kind of quest we were gonna do, and then I ran across this meme on iFunny at the DC one time, and you can maybe show it to one of the cameras. It's like if video games have taught me anything, it's that this cat has a side quest to offer me or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's hilarious. I showed it to everybody, like, guys, what if we named our band Side Quest? And they're like, nah, that's stupid.
We had another name too at that point too, I think.
I think we did.
because I always brought up the Poison Battletoads thing,
Yeah.
you know, to be a meme or whatever. But like we had another one that was like semi.
I feel like we could have gone far with the Poison Battletoads. That would have
True.
worked out for a while. I think.
Honestly, we could have pulled it off. It
Look
would,
at the way that we sounded.
Mhm.
You know.
Otis Bear should come from a band. We should create an alias band called Poison Battletoads and make Otis Bear a record for that
Yeah,
band.
that'd
An
be
EP.
smart. That'd be smart.
Let's do it. I'm down.
We're doing it, but secretly. Don't until only people will only know whenever this is happening.
Cut this out. But
3-song EP.
They're all Otis Bear.
The first song is O, the second is D. Spare.
So who do you guys think you sound like?
We were in the car the other day listening to Microwave.
Microwave, yeah,
Turnover,
yeah.
especially recently, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're kind of judging right now. I think off of what we've recently done.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of want to sound a little bit more like those guys. And
Yeah. There's like the old Turnover stuff when they were pop punk, kind of crossing over into it. There's like the one EP with the dude on the surfboard or whatever. That's super weird. But like the one right before that, I think. It has like the blocks on the cover. What's the name of that one?
I'm trying to remember.
The orange block and
I can
stuff.
look it up.
But like early Turnover when before they were like super ambient and stuff.
Yeah,
Even then like the ambient stuff still has a feel on it, you know.
for sure.
Mm.
And Microwave because they're like an alt rock band, but like on the heavier tier of that, you know.
I've got Magnolia, Turnover.
Yeah, Magnolia.
Cool.
No, never mind.
No,
yeah.
not Magnolia.
No, that's not it.
There's
Magnolia is the
self-titled
pop
EP.
punk one. The
Yeah.
full one.
We've also been compared to Remo Drive before.
Yeah.
So
Our earlier stuff. We have a record that we were gonna write and put out and stuff like that, but that's probably more remote drivey stuff, right?
Mhm, yeah.
Yeah.
Who are your guys' biggest influencers when it comes to music?
I think we all have separate ones, so we should go one by one here.
Yeah. Chris, you started off.
All right. Well, I'm a metalhead at heart. I grew up on metalcore, so not technically a metalhead. But I think that
It's
especially
still
as a bass player in particular, my influences are, I love Wolfpack and Joe Dart. It's one of my favorite bass players.
Heck yeah.
Of course, I love the virtuoso bass players like Victor Wooten and Marcus Miller, and the greatest bass player ever, Jaco. Like I listen to and play all of their music sometimes. So there's a sense of like, I have strong jazz roots in the music that I play for SideQuest on bass, even though I grew up in metal. So I kind of fall somewhere in the middle with this kind of like alt-rocky punk music that we make.
I think for me, there's a difference between like what I listen to and what I feel like I let influence me.
Yeah.
So early on, I was kind of like the Bay Street Christian dude who wants to be a little bit edgy. Was really into like Relient K and Switchfoot and stuff like that. So I was into those guys, and they definitely influenced the way that I write songs and the way that I think even like
You can
vocalize
say
a lot
it's
of them.
basic all you want though, but like
Yeah, I
Lion
mean-
K is real like deep.
No, I don't think they're a
Basically,
basic
you know,
band.
like-
But I mean, like people when they perceive like if I say Relient K, they'll be like, "Oh, you're that guy," and I'm like, "Oh, well, yeah, I guess so." But I mean, even further than that, more recent, and I think in the last like 3-4 years, actually a little bit before that too, but before coming to school, I got really into like the actual like pop punk scene that those guys were trying to follow, I think, and so bands like Mayday Parade back in the day over my jam, bands like that, and then like Real Friends and the Wonder Years. I was really into them for a while, but also like softer people like Coldplay. I think I was really into what they were doing for a long time.
Young the Boys.
Yeah, Young the Giant, they're my jam too. A band called Foals that people don't really know too much about, but probably should.
True though. Yeah. For me, my drumming is influenced. In high school, I played a lot of Bring Me the Horizon tracks to learn that. Like the Sempiternal record, I would just play through probably at least 4 times a week in high school. I don't remember the drum parts on that anymore, but it definitely influenced the way I play stuff. So, and then like I listened to a lot of 21 Pilots freshman year, and Josh Dunn has a way of playing drums too. But that's like kind of like just taste a little bit. And then more recently I've started to get into more hip hop stuff and like R&B and stuff where it's more necessary and like the focus is being in the pocket the whole time, you know, like when you're listening to the metal drummers, they're just like slapping it and like it's not that they're out of time, but like the focus isn't being deep in the pocket. So like when I listen to Michael Jackson and stuff like that, it's like, but then also recently it's been like Knocked Loose and stuff. Listening to some of the Ghost Notes stuff that he does is super tasteful, and I try to put that in there too.
What is the songwriting process for you guys?
It's different sometimes.
Yeah, I think it kind of varies. I think the one that kind of stuck through a little bit more would be. I'm a big focuser on lyrics and stuff like that, so I'll like spend a lot of time before like talking to the guys about writing a song, on just writing lyrics and trying to concept something, I guess, so that makes sense.
That way it's cohesive too.
Yeah. That way we're kind of working on that way, and then from there, normally like I'll start talking to them, and then I'll show them a chord progression I had in mind from it, and a lot of the time we end up like changing what we do, or what I've done originally. But I'll just kind of show them kind of what I had in mind for what we were doing, like song structure and stuff, and then I'll let them take it from there. How was your perception of it?
Yeah, that's about it. Usually, what we do is we wait for Jaron to write the lyrics of a song. He writes a lot of music, so you don't usually have to wait very long. And so he writes the song. He usually writes like a bare bones chord progression and the lyrics and the melody, the main melody, and then we just kind of build off of that. And when we meet together as a band, and that usually works pretty well for us. So
yeah, usually we like when the first time you listen to it, you try to get the feel of the thing, you know, and then like go from there.
I think something that, at least for me personally, that I've been pushing for in myself when it comes to constructing SideQuest music, and I feel like we've all kind of been on this, just trying to create a sound that's more textured and like diverse. Because I feel like a lot of times, especially in our early music, we would just write a song and we would just jam to it, and whatever we jammed to kind of just ended up sticking.
Yeah.
So trying to create like an actual like dynamic musical piece with multiple strong melody points, both lyrically and in the instruments, and just kind of just how things work together. And it's kind of hard to do that with a 3-piece sometimes, but I think we do a pretty good job.
And I think for me, the ones that I enjoy playing the most have been the ones that I didn't have much to offer when we first got there, and then ended up writing to what we did. So I think we're almost like kind of curating and working on what the songwriting process is right now. Yeah.
Are you guys making any music now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse, you want to talk about it?
Yeah. We have a concept. We have a concept album. We had a concept album. We aren't settled on how the concept is gonna play out yet.
Yeah.
But like, when you have a group of songs that can all be pieced together in a way that's like cohesive, it's nice to be able to go through and see which ones work musically into one another. And so like when you have a group of 8 to 10 songs, you can be like, oh, we could put these all in, or you can be like, oh, we can pick these ones that are really nice right now, and we have these ones all worked out and whatnot, and we can set these ones aside for later because they're also very good songs. But you know, we're in that process right now, and we have a couple tracks we're mixing and potentially releasing by the time this gets out.
Just out here pooping out music. That's what we do. Not really, but trying.
Yeah.
What is the backstory or the story that you're trying to say with this EP or album that you're making right now?
Yeah, I guess I can answer this one.
Yeah.
I think for me, I wrote it. I had the song Blue Volume 2 in mind for a while, and I wanted to write either an EP or something like that. I'm kind of bouncing off of where I am now from the first EP we put out. Kind of like a progression thing. But then I wrote this song called The Year I Made You Leave. What happened was on New Year's Eve, I found myself at 11:45, bawling in my bed, just kind of thinking about the relationships and the friendships that had all changed so much, and that I kind of lost and not really understood what was going on or just anything like that. And I kind of was just playing my guitar, not really singing anything, just kind of playing it and bawling. And I was like, man, I should make this a thing. So I think that was midway into, I guess technically last year, last school year. I mean, so it was the end of it was December 31st, and so yeah, I just kind of wanted to reflect on the relationships and how everything morphed that year, and so the year immediately was like kind of like the concept of that, and then I wrote songs all based off of that idea. So I tried to kind of interweave a bunch of the same phrases and kind of ideas in the songs, and a lot of them didn't. I wrote probably about 13, 14 songs for it, but we wanted to consolidate it so that it was like a premium product instead of like a just like, oh gosh, what are these? So yeah, just kind of reflecting on relationships and how one year can change it.
What do you hope that your followers and listeners get from listening to this new EP that you're...
I think, I don't want to answer everything. I think that we probably all have our own like understanding of what we want, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
I think for me, just the relation, like I think people understand how friendships and things like that can fall apart, and they've been through that kind of thing. And I think that's something that every person on the earth is going to face. And so like I think that it's important to know that other people are going through the same stuff, or be able to express it in the right way, and kind of always have this tinge of hope for what's going on. I think that sometimes in the scene that we're in, or hope to be in someday, like there's kind of like this lack of that hope, and like this lack of an understanding that it's still okay to love somebody, even though things have gone kind of weird. So I think yeah, you guys can express what you guys kind of feel like.
For me, music is like, especially as someone who's like, because I feel like all of us have struggled with very similar issues growing up, things like depression, and I feel like the majority of people who will listen to the sad boy music that we put out will have kind of a similar experience to that. I feel like something that music is a powerful thing to do is oftentimes these issues that kind of cloud our lives kind of create this sense of like isolation and darkness, and so you're like, all of these problems are my problems alone, and I'm just kind of burying them in this
It's a very
fog.
like cloud of
And-
narcissism
Mhm.
that you don't see as narcissism.
You get stuck in your own head, and I feel like a lot of times with music, when you are able to speak into something that someone else is experiencing, you kind of clear that darkness, because they're no longer alone. You're with them in a weird way, because they can be like, oh, this person knows how that feels. So there's a sense of when we write music, at least in my hope is whenever I write music is that I speak into somebody else's issues, so that they don't feel alone in those issues anymore. Because that's what so much of the music I listened to as a teenager did for me personally.
The single, at least the A side of the single that we'll probably be releasing first, I like personally because it has both sides of the coin. It's not just speaking into the cloudiness. It's like speaking into it in a different perspective. Like from the positive angle too.
Yeah.
And that's like, I've been listening to a lot of Moose Blood Blush record lately, and like it's that kind of vibe. Like he's looking on it in a positive angle, like you were saying earlier, and that's a lot of stuff that people don't like to hear, but they need to hear. Like when you're in the cloud, you don't want to be like, oh, things are actually good. But it's definitely something that is appreciated, and I like it.
And I think another thing is just like the idea of Christian themes and understanding kind of where we base our understanding of everything going on. There's just like the lines here and there that just really do fall back on where our hope lies. So that's important to us.
Yeah.
What are your guys' plans for after college for the band?
Well, I mean, I can't speak for like, I don't know if we've actually gotten together, the three of us, for a formal discussion on exactly what we're going to be doing. But from like hanging out with both Jesse and Jaron, I feel like the general vibe is that we're all kind of heading towards Chicago, and we're going to continue writing and making music and gigging once we get there after college. So we'll be in the same place doing the same stuff, essentially. That's the vibe that I got from the guys.
Fair.
Yeah, and Christian and I, we're planning on living together in order to keep that going, and then Jesse will be, I don't know, you're gonna be in Chicago too.
We'll figure it out.
Or with us too. I think people paying rent's better than two. But yeah, we're planning on being together for a little while for sure. I have another semester here at school, so I have to come back and do that. But while that's going on, I imagine I'll be writing and everything like that, and getting really excited about whatever we're doing when I get back to Chicago. So yeah, living in Chicago for a little bit, and I think it's important for us to gig outside of here, for sure. So
yeah,
express that.
Which I guess it's not after technically, but like the thing, playing with some people that have graduated from here already in St. Louis, even if it's not like a super far-reaching for us or whatnot, it'll be good to get just the experience and to like show the ability to some people that are already out of it, you know.
The crazy thing is, I think, is that we've kind of progressed as a band a ton since the beginning already, and we still haven't like moved outside of Greenville too much, so it's like gonna be like we're already kind of ready for it before we get there, instead of like trying to start up and then are already automatically gigging somewhere that we're not probably as comfortable yet. So we're excited about it.
We already have a developed sense of self as a band.
Yeah.
And we were able to, under the comfort of the institution of Greenville University, we were able to develop a sense of ourselves as a band without outside influences making things more difficult for us.
Totally.
So there's this weird sense of where a lot of bands, they like struggle to start up and get things done. We already have like a 27-something discography and like an image that we've already cultivated. We spent time. We have a sense of our dynamic as a team.
Yeah, that's the biggest part. Knowing who you're working with.
We know our strengths and weaknesses as people. So we're able to like work around that.
It's the thing, like you see bands like Citizen and Tiny Moving Parts, and they're literally like brothers in the band and stuff, and that's like those bands that are like super good dynamic is because they know each other very well, you know.
Yeah. We've got a good place to culture that. It's cool.
What is your guys' dream / future or end goal for this band?
Personally, if I could say something, I don't, not to like predict the end of a band or whatnot, but like I don't know when it is, and it's probably like a ways off or whatever, but like I know for me, one thing that I really appreciate is bands like MCR, and I know Childish Gambino just announced something at his last show in January or whatever that he played, that the next record's gonna be the last one, you know. Like I think that bands that tie up loose ends with a cohesive thing, you know, like even if they go on to form another band, you know, it's just nice to tie things off nicely and have everything, like you don't see the Lord of the Rings getting tagged on another, you know, like.
And an entire fourth age that we don't know about. What are you talking about, bro?
I'm saying like.
No, I'm just kidding.
You know what I mean, like.
I know what you're saying.
Stories have beginnings and ends, and whether this band becomes another band or something like that, that's cool too. I think that the way that we write, everything is cohesive together, and like, I like how it is a story. The band is a story.
My personally big goal is I would love to be famous someday. not because I want people staring at me, but I want to have enough money to like do stupid things. Not stupid.
Oh my gosh.
But like one of my fantasies is to be fantasies, weird word to describe this, but it's like, you know how like we go to a college and like you become very aware very early on that like the people who make the decisions for the college are like the distinguished alum with a lot of money to pour into the school. So like one of my fantasies is to make the school do ridiculous things for money.
Oh no.
You know, like build a statue of me or something,
Stop.
and then pay them to tear down the statue ceremoniously. Like ridiculous things like that. I also, when I was in high school, I got a new car. It was like a $2,000 car, nothing special. It was like a 2000 Grand Prix, something like that.
2,000 grand.
It was a classy car, right?
2 million.
3 days into owning this car. 3 days, literally 3 days. The first time I pulled out of the high school parking lot, I got in an accident. And it wrecked the car completely. So I owe my dad a car. So if I could get a job that like buy my dad a car, at least a 2000 Grand Prix, like at least that'd
Worth
be
it.
good. So those are my two big dreams. Small dreams, I think, just being able to spend more time with my friends and
Yeah.
recording good music.
Yeah, sure. It's a big question, I think. For me, it's always been like, been about the mission, and about voicing things that sometimes just aren't voiced, or just being able to add our voice to a collection of people that already are. And so I think it's like, I don't know if it's over until we know that voice has been heard or accepted.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's almost like Jesse was saying, I think when it comes to an end is whenever the story's kind of just end, like whenever it's time for the story to end. And it's like, right now that's not the time, you know? And so that's why I think it's been heard that like from the Lord for me is like to continue it, because there's been something in the songwriting, there's been something in the way that we interact and the way that we are as people together that just needs to continue. And so so yeah, I think for me it's like, I don't know what the end goal is. I think that it's just that people know that they're not alone, and that's the end goal for me. And there's not really like a monetary value or like a status value on it for me. It's just like, I want people to have an understanding of hope when they are crying out.
Yeah.
So can you explain how the loss of your member and the situation of that?
We lost it.
We lost Ben.
Well, I want to first clarify that we didn't lose Ben.
Yeah,
He's
you're
still technically a member of the band, and if he wants to, he can still gig with us and whatever. We're never going to turn him down on that. The only thing is he's in Chicago, and we're here right now, and I feel like it's just very convenient for him to get here to gig with us, and so we're just kind of without him for a little bit. He's always welcome back, and especially when we go up to Chicago, which is where he is right now. It'll be much easier for him to hop back in.
We love and support Ben and want him to be a part as much as he's able.
Do what you gotta do.
Alright, have you guys thought of touring?
C. Yes. I think we all kind of have a dream to do that. We like the idea of living in a van, and you know,
Seeing places.
seeing places. I always want to go to Oregon
adventurous
because
people.
Oregon's cool, but I don't know if that's the scene.
There
but
is a scene out there. It's a very good scene out there, to be
We
honest.
could fit it in Oregon.
I think so. It's beautiful out there, so
We
Plot
could be
twist, we're not moving to Chicago.
we're moving to Oregon.
The
Yeah.
rent out. in
We're gonna be
Portland
homeless
is
in the
expensive.
cool
Shout
spaces
out Uncle
out there.
Jason. We're gonna move in with you and become a band in your living room.
That's the way to do it,
I
man.
feel like your uncle would like that though.
I mean, he wouldn't like it, but he would enjoy the music. I mean, it'd be good though.
He's
Remember,
like, the music's great, but can you please get out of my house?
If you did a tour, who would you tour with? Either a dream team for a tour or like realistically?
Cursed Dream Team, go.
Dream Team. All right. I was thinking if we toured with the band like Turnover or what's the other band that we were talking about? It's a big influence for us.
Microwave.
Microwave. Yeah. If we toured with one of those bands, that would probably be the best.
Dan Chiafolo saw Microwave live with Dolan, and they both said that they were really good.
Yeah.
Plus,
Yeah.
all the YouTube videos seem to suggest that much.
Both of their audio tree sessions let us know that
That
they
too.
are the illest when they play
I
live.
love when we saw Genesis and I saw Turnover live, and they were supreme. For the what was it called? What tour was it? It doesn't matter what tour it was. It was good. That's what it was.
What's your dream tour?
Oh,
I'm interviewing you guys now.
my dream tour would be us opening up for probably DNCE and the Naked Brothers Band.
Also, the revival of the Jonas Brothers Band.
The revival of the Jonas Brothers Band, Naked Brothers Band, and maybe the Austin and Alley Band. What's his band?
Oh yeah, Austin Moon,
Austin Moon Band.
Ross Lynch, R5.
Yeah, I was gonna say R5.
But he's got a new group. I don't know what it's called though.
Not R5.
It's
So
not even good era kids TV.
Hey, what are you talking about?
that's a Raven.
I don't really.
That was it. That was
There
it.
it
Right
is.
there. That's a Raven.
We want to open up for Lizzie McGuire.
Actually, high key though,
Look, I
this
would
is
be-
not even a joke right now. If we could open up for Toby Mac, that would be
Ooh.
actually dope.
That would be. I could try to get the hookup.
I know the dude's getting old, but like.
Probably remembers my dad. They called him Philly.
True. Also, Isaiah Carlson, shout out. He did the Big Ticket Fest
True.
when they were playing. So, but yeah, memes.
Get the hookup. Let me think about it real quick. Maybe That's the Spirit era, Bring Me the Horizon,
True.
but only that era. I'd probably maybe before then too.
New era would be a little bit of a reach.
Yeah,
For
for us to do. But I think like this is a dream, so this is a
Yeah.
horizon.
Yeah.
Like, because when I first got to school, like I hadn't listened to that much Bring Me the Horizon,
And I was like, I only listen to 21 Pilots and Bring Me the Horizon.
and then I was like, shoot, I really listened to 21 Pilots a lot too, so let's hop in there and listen to it. And I did, because That's the Spirit had just come out, and I was like,
Yes.
that was cool. That would be fun, I think. I always thought he's a beautiful man.
I would like to open for Country Blessings era, Bring Me the Horizon.
No.
I don't think anyone else in the band would want to do that.
What are you talking about, Kirsch? I
Y'all
love that
might.
album.
It's
You
a great
guys-
album.
I'll get out the picture real quick. But in reality, probably like,
In reality.
let me think, Dream Team would probably be, you guys know I'd love to tour with Relient K real quick,
Yeah.
but I don't know if Relient K would like to tour with Relient K, so.
You're right. I mean, at
But
the
who
end of
knows?
the day.
I'd love to hang out with Jordan Foreman and stuff, but that's
true.
That's just all things that we already know.
Mhm.
Realistically, I don't even know what Remo Drive is doing anymore, but I feel like we could actually hop on a tour with them.
Yeah. Them
Um,
movements, maybe.
Yeah, movements would be sweet. But realistically, I think we were talking about like just like finding local bands and stuff like that. But I do have a few buddies that I know that know people who we could tour with. So like a band called Vanisdale that I've kind of linked up with a little bit, but not too much. But I could link up with them
Yeah.
and be like, "Whoa, what's up?" And then we could tour with them a little bit. I think it would be reasonable, and also they're getting a little bit of a following, and so we'd be able to hop in there because they are pretty nice and similar to us,
Mhm.
feel and stuff like that. So people appreciate their music, then they might appreciate ours.
Exactly.
Stuff like that, local dudes.
I know a couple dudes that we all know that would also be willing to hop on a tour. Ricky and Dolan.
Let's do it, bro. The OSSQ.
Luna.
Ask.
DOSSQ.
Ask.
I dig it.
What has been the craziest experience you've had with a fan during a show?
Well,
Kirsch just stage dived a couple times.
I've stage dived a couple times.
Quite a few times, actually, now.
Yeah, it became a tradition. We played a stupid song called "Oh Despair," and I used to stage dive at the end of it.
Well, not really stage dive, but crowd
More
surf.
like jump into the crowd. I did crowd surf the last time we did it, which may or may not be the last time we play it.
Yeah.
But I did crowd surf there, which was an experience.
Till the side project gets released.
Exactly. But I think that the number one experience for me is a friend of mine named Joey was wearing a blow up gorilla suit. You know, it's like one of those
Yeah.
T-Rex suits, but it was a gorilla. And I jumped off stage during this song that I was explaining, and I was like, I gotta do something bigger than what I normally do. So I picked him up in his gorilla suit and carried him on stage with me. So he just stood up there in his blow up gorilla suit while we finished out the song. I think I actually threw out my back doing it, if I'm being honest. My back hurt the rest of the night.
Worth it.
It was actually a Halloween show, and I was dressed up as Scott Pilgrim, so it was a good experience.
Good night.
I just get sweaty. I don't have bad experiences.
Crazy experience.
Crazy experiences, yeah.
Our very, very first show, Dan Schiaffolo, crazy dude. Keep talking about him. He was riding a scooter around in a Woody costume. It was not even
True.
close to Halloween at all. He was just doing that.
Yep.
And then I think he rode it on stage whenever my guitar fell off my strap.
Yeah.
That was kind of fun. But we had a show one time where we replaced our rehearsal time with a show. And it wasn't like a specific fan, but that night was going wild for some reason. Like,
People were-
like 60 to 70
pumping.
people.
Dan was hopping around too.
Yeah, people were going crazy. And I was like, that's what I feel like every show should be like, you know? As long as enough people get in there and the fog is going crazy because somebody shut the door and turned off the air.
It's like a Shadow of Mordor up in here.
It was Mordor, and we couldn't see Jesse at the time. Sometimes he'd be like, ah! You'd see his arm pop out of the fog, and it was like, nice. We missed him that show, I'm not going to lie. We heard him, but we missed him.
True.
It's fun.
What are some of the habits that your band members have that are a little weird to you?
Well, before this becomes a Kirsch roast fest. Because that's what this is inevitably
Not
gonna
a
become.
Kirsch Roast Fest, just a describe Kirsch Fest.
I'm going to start by describing something that Jaren does.
Okay.
I'm Jaren's roommate. And whenever he gets upset or stressed, his response to that, and it's a coping mechanism and it works for him and that's cool. But he likes to take his shirt off and climb a high fence. So I don't know. It's benign and it's funny, but it shouldn't be because he's usually pretty stressed when that happens.
Yeah. But I mean, it's okay. It's okay to make fun of it.
Yeah.
I understand it's a real weird thing to do.
Memes happen.
But sometimes I'll feel like real like constrained whenever I'm having like an anxiety thing going on. So I will take off my shirt. And when I stand up high places, I feel more open. So
Exactly.
even if I'm closer to the ceiling, you know,
It's different. You're looking down on stuff.
I don't know what it is.
Memes.
It works.
Let me think. I'll be soft on Kirsch. This Kota. Kirsch will often just like throw his headphones in and leave in the middle of a conversation.
Sure.
That's a fun thing. And you know what the signal is because he starts breathing through his nose super loudly.
That's true.
And then
Yeah.
those swish legs, they start happening. Like, oh, Kirsch's outie.
Yeah.
And because the headphones are in, it's funny because he's like Kirsch, and he's out. Like you can't get his.
But then he'll show up like 20 minutes later.
Yeah, he's like, what's up? And I'm like, hey man, what you always like? Oh, I wanted to listen to this EP real quick. And
Or
then
went
he'll-
to like go get dinner or something
Yep.
and then showed back up playing.
But it's like an in the moment decision. Like, oh, I gotta go get dinner. Boop, and he gets out of there. You know, that kind of thing. So it's not bad.
No.
Like
It's just kind of funny. And then if you like walk around and see him when he's already in that mood, it's the same reaction. It's just like,
I've ran like all the way across campus because I knew I couldn't shout at him. So he catches me often. I'll like be dead sprinting like, gotta get to Kirsch. Tell him something. And then I'll get to him out of breath. So maybe that's something weird that I do is I'm running
Run.
across campus for no apparent reason.
true.
I very often have to go on walks. It's how I like decompress. Like I think and like observe things best when I'm moving. So
Yeah.
like if I have something I need to think about or think through, I'll put headphones in so I can like be distracted by music and then just walk in circles. I've gone like if it is a stressful week, I can walk in circles for like hours. It is scary.
Hey.
Jesse will
That's what you
sometimes save Taco Bell for later, and I think that's a sin.
Yeah, like
This is one time
He goes
specifically
one
this
time.
year. I literally opened up the backpack and there was one of the mini chicken quesadillas in the bottom of my backpack from 3 days earlier. And I don't know if I was the one that ate it, but somebody definitely ate it. I think I might have been. There,
it happens.
as long as you put the hot sauce on it.
Amen.
Let's
Hot
be
sauce. I'm probably
Plus those
used to
ones
Taco
taste
Bell.
good. I think it tastes good cold too though.
Honestly, there are some things that taste good cold.
I love cold pizza.
Cold pizza is great.
Almost as much if not more than regular pizza.
If you go to Chili's and you get the honey chipotle chicken tenders, I don't know if it's an experience you guys have had. You take it back, you refrigerate that sucker, and you eat it later. It's way better than when you got it.
That's sad. That is a sad
No,
reality.
no, it's
No,
not sad,
it's
bro.
not.
They are brilliant when you get them, and then
And
they're way more.
B-dubs wings.
Yeah.
They stay hot. They're like still spicy when they're cold. You don't
I
even
think it's
have
because the sauce like kind of seasons up a little bit when it's cold, and so it's kind of like thicker.
Okay, I see. So it's a texture thing.
Yeah, and it's still crispy.
Yes.
So like you would appreciate them if they served them cold, not just that the quality dips.
No. There's not like a dip in quality. It's just like somehow they age well.
I don't think it's a
Like
different
a nice guitar.
It's a different thing.
It's different. It's not like a this one. I did just say that one's better than the other.
It's
but
like taking a box of pancake mix and adding water. Except for the water is
Just-
cold temperature.
this is gonna have tons of fun editing this portion.
Alright, well, that's my last question for the full band. Thanks, guys.
Save
Thank
talk
you.
about for later. That's how you do
Have
it.
a afternoon.
Is your role in this band?
My role is to play the drums, and do some background vocal when it calls, or when it doesn't call, because Kirsch doesn't really like to bring up background harmonies and stuff as a role in music because he listens to metal, so it's not really a big thing there, but it plays a really good place in our music, I think. And to do some of the engineering, the productions.
How did your love to play music come to you?
Probably my family. I have a father that is very good at guitar. He plays electric and very well, even though he doesn't play at all often. Like, he'll just pick up the guitar after not playing for a year and rip. And then I have an uncle that played and leads worship and has been in bands and stuff and wrote music. He writes music, and he was always inspiration to me.
How long have you been playing music?
I picked up violin in preschool, and then wanted to play saxophone when it came to middle school band, but they said that my hands were too small because I was a little child, so they didn't let me do that. So I ended up playing drums, I guess, because I secretly wanted to play guitar at that point, but that wasn't in the band class, so.
Nice. What is your favorite pastime to do with your bandmates besides playing music?
With Kirsch, I think my favorite thing is to watch kind of goofy shows like Rick and Morty and like Brickleberry and stuff, because it's always fun just quipping with him when you're watching shows. It's kind of funny making jokes about stuff, and like it's funny how he can like I don't know where he like must watch videos or something about stuff, but like he finds out these histories of the like how they wrote like the first episode of Rick and Morty in like one day and like produced it all in one day and stuff in like 6 hours, and stuff about like the background of all these dumb shows, and I'm like, how do you find all this depth and things? But it's cool. With Jaren, I think the thing I enjoy the most would be probably playing Smash and Mario Golf and stuff, because there's a lot of games that people don't appreciate that we're actually decent at, and it's fun to be that way.
Now, from your point of view, explain how you met your bandmates and your thoughts for them.
The first memory of actually hanging out with Kirsch that I have was I don't remember if it was after like an open mic or something like that, but like it wasn't like the first time we met, but like the first time we actually hung out, it was just the two of us walking back from like the music department or something like that, and like we stood outside of he lived in one of the halls, and we stood out there talking about metal for like an hour and it was cold out and stuff, but like I forgot it was cold out because we were having good conversation. You know how that goes, kind of. And then with Jaren, the first time that we met was like the Core 101 class. I walked in late, kind of, but like still early because it was the first class of college, so you have to be on time. So we showed up and I was like shaking, nervous, and freaking out because it's college, you know, and sitting down and him being nice and feeling like I had a real friend for like the first time ever. So
How has this band and music influenced you as a musician and as a person?
As a musician, I feel like we've all grown together musically. We weren't like untalented. I feel like we've all been very talented, but when you come up, it's a lot different because you come up and you're in your own environment and you can only be as good as your surroundings. So like being in a group of people that are growing keeps pushing your ability. So I feel like we've all grown together and progressed as musicians and whatnot, and songwriters. And what was the second one was like as a person. I think as a person we've kind of been the same. Like I know we've obviously, if you're an introverted person, you're not really gonna move past that. I'm sure you can like grow out of it or something like that, but like that's something you just have to like learn to find the ways that you cope with things and whatnot. And I think that we've all kind of moved past our days of just living in constant fear of these things and like kind of found our different ways to deal with it and move on and begin to be adults. It's kind of cool.
Can you tell me what your favorite song from SideQuest and why that is?
Favorite song is like a hard thing to say because I feel like a lot of our songs go hand in hand with each other. But I do like we have a song called, no, not that one though, but they're all so good. I don't really know. I like a song that we have called Birds, because I like that song because it has good metaphorical phrasing between the different parts. I like the whole line where it's like join me in the birds or whatever. I like how that goes and whatnot, and like the whole way that we play that song. I feel like that song was one of the first songs that we wrote coming together after a summer of becoming competent musicians. So like it was the first song that we wrote together that felt like a real piece, and I like it. It's kind of like a maturing as a band kind of thing.
What are your hopes for this band in the future?
I think for me, hopes as the band, I do like wanna be able to put out good records. Like there's a lot of bands that you listen back to their roots and whatnot, and like when I listen to Fall Out Boy's first record, it's like it might not be produced as well as some of the newer stuff or whatnot, but like it's iconic. I love all the songs off that record. It's not nostalgia because I didn't listen to I thought Fall Out Boy was kind of like basic or whatever. I liked their songs, but I didn't want to admit it in high school. But like when I really started to listen to it, I was like, wow, these are actually well written songs, you know, people get picked up from that. And like I want to be one of those bands that you can listen back to their first record, like or like Microwave, and be like, wow, this is quality music. Even if it's not the best produced album, you can be like, wow, they've been a good band since day one, you know.
What are some of the emotions and thoughts you have while playing a show?
Depends on the songs that we're playing, or who we're playing with, because there's some sets. We played one Halloween show, and it was opening up for 2 pop acts, and it was like good, but I don't think I got too deep emotionally into the songs, to be honest. Like, we were playing to be a good band, you know. We weren't like watering down anything or whatnot, but like there's some shows that you have a better connection with the audience, and there's some shows that you kind of just try to appeal to people versus play to them, you know. It's different, I guess.
What is your role in this band?
I think maybe the most heavy one would be songwriting. I think it's probably the most important when it comes to like lyrics and kind of melodies and some stuff like that. And then kind of come on off of that, I kind of utilize just the fact that I know how to play guitar in the band, and then I sing stuff that I write too, so that we write.
How long have you been playing music?
I think like formally probably since the 5th grade when I started playing piano. When I was in 5th grade I started and I broke my left hand, and then I just had to play the piano with my right hand in lessons for a long time because you can't really play with the cast very well. Unless you want to have some nice note clusters in the bottom half the entire time. But yeah, so since 5th grade, so I guess I was like 11, so probably 10 years. Actually, I was a young 5th grader, not 11. I can't remember. 13 years, let's say that.
So can you recall from your memory how you met your other bandmates, Jesse and Kirsch?
For sure. I met Kirsch. He won't remember this, but I met Kirsch on a preview day. When we were touring the school, real long while back. We just kind of talked a little bit. And then Jesse, I met. Jesse's right here. The cameras can't see him, but I've just pointed to him. Jesse, I met my first class. I was chilling with nobody sitting by me, and he walked in, and he was like, "Hey man, is it okay if I sit here?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then I remember, like one of the first questions they asked in the class was, "Hey, who's an introvert and who's an extrovert?" And there were like 3 people in the class who kept their hand down for extrovert, and it was me, Jesse, and probably Kirsch, I guess. But I don't know. There's only a few people that did that, and I was like, "Oh, it's lit."
Who does most of the songwriting in the band?
When it comes to like the musical stuff, it's the other guys. I think they're real good at doing that. And then lyrically, I've done, I'd say probably like 85 to 90% of the writing there. Not really by choice. I think it's just kind of how it ends up sometimes, and I'm always open to lyrics being added to things.
What is your favorite song and why?
Ooh. Dang. Like my favorite song the band's written or that?
Yeah.
Oh goodness. That's a hard question. I think there's this, we're about to put out this single. I'm gonna say this is temporarily what it is. It's called Best Fight Around, and kind of talks a lot about how you could be struggling in a relationship, but all relationships with any form of that is, if it's a like a romantic one, a friend to friend, brother to brother, they're all gonna take work. But what you got to do is you got to realize that person's worth that work, even though it's hard, and even though there's sometimes weird space between the two of you.
Now, how has the band and the music influenced you as a musician and as a person?
Ooh. I want to say, before I started to write for this group, I was real closed off with my emotions and honestly with how I communicated with people, especially in a new place like when I first got to college. I was really worried about the way people would think about me. I was really worried about the fact that like nobody knew who I was, so I couldn't go off of that and be like, yeah, you know, like it was like I had to start new with every single person. And when I started writing, this is the first project that like I ever really seriously started writing music for. I think I had just like 2 songs written before coming to school, and then I started writing for SideQuest as my main kind of outlet when it comes to lyrics and stuff like that. And so just the value in expression and the feeling like it's okay to do that and to talk about things I never really talked about in song and stuff like that, and in kind of placement of where I am, telling people that, I don't know, it was just really important for me to be able to know how to express things and how to feel and show people that I felt the way that I did. And the people in the group have always been so supportive of that, and also have always been, I've always had this understanding that we've been through the same things, and I hadn't really ever had that before coming to school, that I was surrounded by people who felt the same way that I did.
Share your favorite show you've ever played before and why.
My mind always goes immediately to this Wednesday night show that we did, that we expected kind of a low turnout for, and it was like our most attended concert. What happened was we scheduled, instead of our rehearsal time, we scheduled this show, and there was a faith music culture class going on where there was a bunch of freshmen, there's a bunch of sophomores, a bunch of like people from that were all in that class, and we talked to Gary Erickson about planning the show for that time, and he said, you know what, I'm going to let that class out early so they can go to your show. And there was a ton of people in that class that came, so I think about 30 people were there before, maybe 30 people from that class came, but there was about like 60 to 70 people there at the end of it, and that's like not a big group of numbers, but around Greenville that's like kind of a big deal, and it was a lot of fun. We were able to actually somehow get lights together for that show, so like people kind of hype on that. But really what it was like I felt like that night there was a lot of fun that was had, but then there was a lot of like serious moments that we were able to speak into some places, and it gave us the outlet for that. And aside from that, I really like the intimate shows that we've been able to play, just like some real small ones. I remember we did something on the porch of this house, just me and Jesse kind of played some of our tunes, and that was kind of like both mine and Jesse's projects, not mine, it was Jesse's project, Oversleeping, doing some stuff, and then SideQuest doing some like acoustic kind of feeling stuff, and it was really cool. And we just kind of sat down on a little couch thing and sang some tunes to people in the dark, and it was really cool.
What is your current album that you are constantly just on replay right now?
Let's go with the self-titled from The Stower So Far. I think that one's always, for the last like 3 years, been in my rotation heavily. I don't really know why. I think I love the way that the whole album goes in and out of each other. Even though the tones and stuff like that kind of sound outdated nowadays, not really, but like just a little bit. I kind of like live in that space. I think like my heart is always in that like kind of emo, punk era, and so I think that a lot of me like, so the authentic versions. I think there's like scene music and there's like that music, but I think that The Story So Far is self-titled, which some people think was one of the worst albums. I don't think I love it the most, so.
Thank you. What is your role in SideQuest?
Well, if we're just speaking like directly, I am the bass player for SideQuest, and that's pretty much what I do. There are a couple of songs where I sing some lines on, but for most of it's just bass. As a soft skills type like role in the band, I think the best way to describe my role is the annoying redheaded guy in the movie Frank. I feel like sometimes I'm a little bit like him. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, you should watch Frank. It'll make more sense.
How long have you been playing the bass?
That's hard because I was a guitar player before I was a bass player, and I've been playing guitar seriously for about 9 years now, if I like count it all the way up. Bass, I started my sophomore year of high school, so I guess about 6 years. And I started playing bass because I wasn't good enough to play guitar at church, but I still really wanted to play on the team, so I bought a bass and did that instead. And because nobody wants to play bass, I just did it, and I fell in love with it. So.
Share how you met your other bandmates, like the exact memory of when you met Jaren and Jesse.
I don't know if I have like there's no strong memory of meeting them the same way that like I'd say I met other people here. For me, they were in the same class as me, we were in a Core 101 together. And I was kind of exposed to them. They were like best buds from the get-go. And I really didn't hang out with them all that much until later, until we were like an actual band. Like even as the band was forming our freshman year of high school, not high school, of like college, I was still like, what's going on, fellows? I wasn't like a close friend with them.
How has the band influenced you as a person?
Well, I think musically I didn't really listen to a lot of alt rock and punk stuff. A lot of the bands that Jaren and Jesse used as like influences were not bands that were even remotely on my radar as a high school kid. So I really grew as a musician because I was exposed to an entirely different genre of music. They're my close friends, so I rely on them for a lot of things, and so there's a sense of like friendship changes you, I guess. So there's that. It's hard when you're in college because so much is different and like you're not quite sure. It's hard to like pin one group of people and you're changed. I have changed a lot from the 4 years we've been friends, but I don't know how much it was them.
What is your favorite memory you have with your bandmates?
That's another one that's hard to answer. I think that the go-to would be like shows and stuff. Like some of the best memories I have at school at all in general have been specific shows. We played a show a couple semesters ago where we just kind of used one of our practice times, and like there hadn't been a lot of like shows like that on campus that semester, and so people were really psyched to come and see us play. And we were at like our rehearsal peak at this point. Like we had been like rehearsing heavily, and we had just written a whole bunch of new music too, and we really like mastered it and formed it into like solid music. So we played like a full set for all of our friends that were really psyched to be there, and people would like, you would just like say hey in the microphone and people would yell and go crazy, and it was just a really fun experience.
What are your personal hopes for the music for SideQuest?
I don't like to like come up with like strong hopes for it because I'm you know like I don't want to like psych myself out with it. I hope that like our music relates with people and speaks to people in a meaningful way, that people will like come to our shows and it'll help them with whatever they're going through at a time, even if it's just in a relational, like I know where you're at, I feel you, buddy. A lot of our music, Jaren will say this, but a lot of our music has fragments of hope and this concept of like things get better. I think that's written into our music. Even if a lot of our music is sad, there's a sense of progression to good things to come, despite the bad things we're in. And I feel like that's a good message for people, especially today. I feel there's a lot of just general hopelessness and and depression with our generation, especially when you've got like everything that's going on, on social media and like politics and stuff. It's nice to have a sense of, oh, things get better. They eventually get better.
Can you share your favorite song and why is it your favorite song?
SideQuest wise, favorite song. It's hard. It's easy to share your favorite song of a band because you're impartial, but like I'm partial to the majority of the songs that SideQuest has written. I could probably give you songs that I don't necessarily appreciate all that much. I think a song that has stuck with me. We play it a lot actually, and I guess it's an older song now, but it was a song called "Birds." I just really like the language of the song, the way that Jaron wrote it, and there's remnants of like jazzy chords in it that more so than our other music, which is a little more a little punkier. But I like that sound and that style. It almost, if you were to play the song on keys and sing it slower in a different tempo, it would almost sound like a Frank Sinatra song, like the way that it's written and played. So I think that's probably my favorite song for like musical reasons, and just the aesthetic of the song. I think another song I really like is one that we're writing right now is one about last summer. I think it's a really cool song about change and people changing, but and musically it's awesome. But I don't know if it's better than Birds yet, in my opinion. So.